This is Weather or Not.
All right, welcome into this Wednesday edition of Weather or Not. We're going to kind of keep it simple today as far as the show because it's so complicated, if that makes sense.
And honestly, I think that's going to be the easiest thing to do. Obviously, we know there's rain chances in the forecast for the weekend, but right now the big story is the tropics. Some trouble out there, potentially, maybe even some impacts directly or indirectly. We don't know yet.
We don't know yet, and that is the honest question. Yeah, it does, but sometimes that's what you have to say. We don't know yet, but we know we have two systems that may potentially interact with each other, that may potentially interact with parts of the U.S. as we head into very early next week.
Yeah, and that's where we start with our tropics update. Let's go ahead and give you the first alert because the tropics are busy. Do want to remind you that we do have Gabrielle still doing its thing. Not going to pose any threat to anyone. It's out there and starting to finally weaken. But those two chances, I think it's going to come down to timing and then interaction between the two on where these go.
Exactly. So we've got system number one, which has a 90% chance of development. That could become a tropical depression potentially before today is done. Then we have system number two, which is now pushing into the Caribbean. That one with an 80% chance of development as we head through the next 7 days.
Yeah, and I think that's the big importance there is system number two's chance still low in the next 48 hours.
Yeah.
30% chance of development. It's just going to kind of sit there. But a lot of models latching onto the idea that as we go into the end of this week and the early part of the weekend, we start to see some development from that cluster of that tropical wave.
Yeah, so let's kind of break them down first and talk about them individually. We'll start off with the forecast models here for system number one. These are the spaghetti plots, and it's a fairly straightforward forecast for that one. Generally off to a northwestward motion, and then by the end of the weekend and early next week, beginning to make that turn to the north and most likely staying out over the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, and the good news is with this one, I think, we will get a named storm from it, likely going to be a hurricane. Most models agree on that. Where we run into some issues is, A, how far west does that system want to travel? Because I think that will dictate how far west or even east system number two could travel. And look at the model disparity here.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
That's really, I think, going to be the big focal point over the next 72 hours.
Yeah, potentially getting into the Bahamas by the time we get into the weekend. I always say anytime there's a system in the Bahamas that's basically in our own backyard, you got to watch it carefully because it's got to make kind of a hard turn to get out without hitting something. So the fact that we're going to have something potentially in the Bahamas brewing or already developing by the weekend certainly gives us pause and makes us perk our ears up and want to pay attention to this. But as you can see, a really big spread there, and this is just out through next Tuesday of next week. And what makes this forecast really complicated is not only the steering pattern, but what, if any, interaction does it have with the first system that develops? Do they sort of tug on each other and sort of dance around each other? Does one become dominant and sort of keeps the other from developing? All of those questions are potentially on the table next week.
Yeah, I think they're all on the table, and I think a lot of people even had a question today, what about that front from this weekend? Honestly, it stalls out over the area. It allows to where if we do have development will happen. Big question is, does it happen? Not every model has it, as you could tell there. But then, like you said, I think the speed of that first system can come really big into play because the speed may be faster than the second one. Maybe we look at a shift in the data to the west or to the east. It's going to be very dependent on that. And I think the best part about this is this isn't happening in 2 days.
Right.
This isn't happening in 3 days. We still have 5 to 6 days here with new data coming in. And the best part about it, I think we will start to see some agreement. Models usually agree, just not always this far out.
Yeah, we're still, like we said, a good 6-7 days away if we were to see any impacts here. So we're still in that time frame where there are going to be a lot of fluctuations in the models. I think there's going to be a lot more than normal, thanks to the fact that this is such a complicated setup. Bottom line, though, we're getting new data basically coming in every 6 hours. And I think by the time we get to Friday, we should start to have a better idea of a final outcome, or at least an approximate final outcome. Bottom line, what you should be doing, nothing. Don't cancel any plans, but just keep checking back. We're going to be updating every platform possible as often as we need to for this.
It's certainly plastered everywhere, and obviously for all that information, just stay updated with us. Here's one model. We show this in particular just to show the what ifs. 2 hurricanes out there.
And honestly, one of the wackiest runs of the European model I've ever seen.
Yeah.
With basically 2 hurricanes in the Atlantic off the coast of the southeast U.S. as we head into this is next Monday.
This would be next Monday afternoon.
Late next Monday.
And I didn't put it into motion because I think it would confuse people.
It would.
Because these 2 literally kind of dance.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get into the Fujiwara effect later.
We can do that on Friday.
Yeah, we'll break down the Fujiwara effect, but you're probably going to see that. And it's basically where you have 2 systems, 2 areas of low pressure that can actually tug on each other and sort of dance with each other. It's highly unusual. When models start showing something that's highly, highly unusual, you start to question.
Yeah.
Do I think we have 2 hurricanes that close to each other in the Atlantic early next week? I'm not sold on it.
Yeah, I'm not either. I think one could be stronger. I think one could be a tropical storm. Mm-hmm. I think the other could be a hurricane. And even then, I still think there's going to be a larger gap.
Yeah, probably a larger gap. And that's kind of similar to what the GFS model has been showing. It's taking system number 1, kind of makes that the dominant feature, which would be an easier forecast for us.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's most likely that one goes out. It's all about whether or not that second feature develops. Again, heading into next week, and it would be that second feature, if it does develop, would be named Imelda, that could potentially cause troubles for us. It's not like we're going to get hit with 2 hurricanes.
Yeah, no.
We're not talking about anything like that. But I do think at some point early next week, there's 1 or possibly 2 tropical storms or hurricanes somewhere off the southeast coast within a 1,000-mile range that we need to watch
And
for.
keep in mind, it's not past the realm of possibility that we get 1, and then this one just kind of hangs out for a little bit and then kind of gets swept up and goes out to sea too. There's a lot. I think anything at this point is on the table. I do want to reiterate, I said it this morning, no direct impacts in the forecast right now from anything in the tropics. If that changes, we will let you know. Let's talk about still the tropics.
Yeah, on the other side of the world, but still the tropics.
Where they call it typhoons.
Yeah.
Ragasa.
Ragasa, typhoon.
That's how you say it, right?
Ragasa, yeah, has been a mighty typhoon, at one point a super typhoon, which is the Pacific equivalent of a Category 5, initially back early in the week, sort of brushing by parts of Taiwan into the Philippines, a couple of the islands in the Philippines taking a direct hit from Ragasa. And then, overnight last night into today, it's passing just to the south of Hong Kong.
And let me tell you, some of the video that's been coming out from Ragasa has been intense. I did just see that our good buddy Josh Morgan got into the eye.
Yeah.
I don't know what number that is for him, but he went over there. I think he's also kind of been like hey, let's go see something. So he took a trip over there to Hong Kong, figured out how to get into it. And if you haven't, his video, Ice Cyclone on Twitter, highly recommend it. X, I guess is what you call it. But yeah, it's been busy over in the Pacific. It's been a very busy season. And with Ragasa, that certainly continues with trees and damage and even flooding. Some of the intense wind video that I'm seeing from storm chasers who made that international trip.
Yeah, that was Josh's 82nd eye penetration. He made it into the eye. The eye came just south of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
As roughly the equivalent of a Category 3 hurricane. So
crazy.
Yeah, crazy times over there. Hopefully nothing like that. But we will continue to keep you updated, as we said, on what is happening with those double trouble systems there in the Atlantic, tropical twins, whatever you want to call them. I guess twins is better than triplets.
And we're going to go figure it out and get some gray hairs in the process.
Right.
We'll have a new whether or not for you on Friday. Kind of, I think that by that point, hopefully a lot more answers than questions. For now, we'll see you all. Have a good one.